Well, we find ourselves on the Mohawk Indian Reservation, or Akwesasne, where partridge drum. And we're sitting here with a very, very special person, Gawahawi, and that translated is
The carrier.
the carrier. So she is obviously Iroquois Nation, Mohawk tribe, and clan?
Bear.
Bear clan. I'm turtle, so turtles are my favorite, but bears are her favorite. And if you don't mind, I had just a few questions for you today.
Okay.
One of them is, who are you? What are your accomplishments in life? As I want to show the rest of the world that natives make a big contribution to today.
Well, I think one of the things that I find that I accomplished is when I was very young, I always wanted to help people. So one of my life goals was to help my community. And so I finished high school. I finished high school, and I went to college and ended up doing emergency medical technician. And at that time, a lot of our people were dying because the ambulance services, which is in Messina, is a good 15-20 minutes away. And by the time they got here, the people were dead. So, or they were, their livelihood was affected because they didn't get the emergency care they needed. So I got my certification down in Tennessee, and I came back and I started an ambulance service.
Wow.
And then we started another ambulance service. I did it on the Canadian side, and then we did it on the American side as a volunteer service, and that's where I met my husband.
And he really cleans up nice. I mean, he's over in the sidelines here. We'll show him later.
Yeah.
But just a few quick questions.
Mm-hmm.
In all of your time here on Mother Earth, what lessons has she taught you?
Forgiveness, respect, teachings. That there's teachings in everything.
And what advice would you have for the rest of us here on Mother Earth?
I think that when something bad happens to you, that you have to step back from it and look at what is the teaching of whatever happened to you. For example, I was sexually assaulted, and I went to that place. That a good dream for me was that I murdered this guy. I was to that point. I had opportunities to murder this guy, and just something always got in the way from me that I couldn't do it. And so I ended up going to a spirituality conference, and it just opened up my whole world. And I started working on myself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I finally came out. I did a Sundance for 4 years. I pierced. I did all of those, awesome ceremonies. And now I look at that the Creator gave me a beautiful gift. Because now, when somebody walks in and says, Diane, somebody assaulted me, and I don't know what to do, I don't know what to think, and this is what, I'm going nuts, I'll say, I know where you're coming from.
Yes.
So now it's a gift that I could reach out to somebody else to say that you're going to be okay, and that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that, there's definitely something but the forgiveness was the big part. That I could see the man, and he used to have the power over me, and I would feel this big, and feel all the shame, and then I would get angry, and then I would want to kill him. It was a vicious cycle. But after I went through my healing, I wrote him a letter, and I put tobacco in it, and I told him how it affected my life, what he did to me. And at the end of the letter, I said, I enclosed some tobacco for you, because when you go to Creator, I want you to hold this tobacco and tell the Creator why you did what you did. And, you know, and tell the Creator how it affected me. And that you ask for forgiveness from the Creator. Because I've forgiven you, but now it's between you and the Creator.
Wow.
It's not, you're no longer, you know, a threat to me. You're no longer anybody. To me, you're a man that needs help. You're a man that probably didn't get something in his life. And that's how it came out.
Now these...
So that's, and I forgave him. And once I forgave him, you know, it freed me up so much, you know, and that's when I say the most precious gift is forgiveness.
Wow. These next questions are optional. In your time on Mother Earth, what has been the greatest moment of your life?
The greatest moment of my life would be at Sundance. It was my 4th year. We danced from sunrise to sunset. And they give us a break in the afternoon, and then we wake up the next day and we go to a sweat lodge. We have a little bit of drink for our medicine, and then you're out all day. So it's very, very disciplined, very tough on your body, and you get past all of the hunger, you get past all of that, and you enter into a spiritual plane. And the first couple of years, they would come by for you to line up to get pierced, and they would always stop in front of me, and I would go, no, 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 keep going, you know. And the 4th year, it was like I just went in. If there was no doubt in my mind, I wasn't thinking of doing it or anything, and I just went into line. So when I'm standing in line, I feel a little hand in my hand. And I look down, and it's me as a little girl.
Oh my goodness.
And she looks up at me, and she says, if we can't trust the Creator, who can we trust? And I started to cry, and I said, okay. So then I asked her to stay with me. And when they cut me to put the wood pegs in, she stood on the other side of the doctor that was doing it. And you just kneel down, and then he cuts you for your pegs, your wooden pegs. And she was standing behind me, and just with me keeping her contact, I didn't feel nothing. And so when I went up to the tree, and you hug the tree, it's a prayer tree. And then when the drum changes, you run back and you release your pegs, you know. And I would say that was the most awesomest time in my life, because I was so free and so at peace and so on us. Like I said, it's a spiritual plane that you don't even feel pain.
Wow.
And that's when I knew that there was a Creator. That's when I knew that there's no doubt in my mind that we do have a higher power.
Now,
so that was one of my highest points, I think.
Also optional, what's been the worst moment of your life?
When I look back, I don't think I have any worse. Because if you look at worse, then you didn't learn your teaching.
Oh, exactly right.
So, you know, you can, like, people who might be mean to me or whatever, but to me, I just say, well, they're not there yet. And I pray for them. You know?
Well, a question that I came up with specifically because I was hoping to interview you is, how do you feel about being Native?
Oh, I love it. It's, our culture is so beautiful. I was brought up Catholic, but then when I married my husband, I went more traditional, started to learn the ceremonies, things like that. And one of the things I'll tell you about is what you asked me to talk about today, is when a person passes away. The traditional way of how they do it is so awesome, and how they take care of the spirit is so awesome. Let's say a person passes away. Well, we go there and we ask the spirit to come to us with us, and we take them home. And because the spirit doesn't have to go through the exams of the doctors, go to the funeral parlor and all of that stuff to be, physical. Because in reality, they have already split from their physical body.
Now, I'd like to interrupt, and I'd like to do this in a separate interview because of the extent of you being a modern-day healer, if you don't mind. But I do appreciate the time and the interview. And I know you had some apprehension. You're going, that crazy cousin of mine's back again. What next? But I do appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.